The impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be true.
And it is not a question of a little occultism or a touch of mysticism, Mr. Denton. It is vampires with a host of damned souls of telepaths.
Thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night.
Here, the old gods aren't dead.
And what of the true god?
He's dead. You can't complain.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
You're listening to Paranormal UK Radio.
Hi everybody, this is Irene Allen from the Paranormal UK Radio Show, the flagship show of the Paranormal UK Radio Network. And I'm returning now with my co-host, Mark Johnson.
Hello.
Hello. I like that. What's this? Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
We are back. Clap, clap, clap. Yes, we're back.
And you know what? It's about frickin' time.
Oh, don't make me get into laughing, Mark. Please. Oh, yeah, I have missed it. Have you missed it?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
I just feel bad that I had to take so much time off there for a while.
Yeah.
But we do want to give a shout out to Andy Mercer and Carrie Greenway for stepping in for us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They were absolutely fantastic.
You did a great job, guys. Andy is going to be going back with Steve Ward and helping to co-host his High Strangeness Factor show on Tuesdays. And Carrie Greenway will be coming back to Paranormal Concept, which was on hiatus and is also going to be coming back here soon here on the Paranormal UK Radio Network.
Yeah, they've done an absolutely brilliant job. The shows were so interesting, and I tell you, I love them to pieces, both of them.
Yes. Excellent.
Well, I'm so grateful for what they've done for us. I just can't thank them enough.
No, you guys did awesome job. Awesome job.
You're the best.
So, anyway, before we get into going over things, I have to tell you what happened today.
Oh, come on then.
We had something unexplained.
Don't get me too excited now, Mark.
Well, I don't think it's that exciting. It's mysterious.
Boring? Okay.
About 2.5 hours ago, there was this loud, long boom noise that shook the house and lasted several seconds. Now, I do live a couple miles away from a rock quarry where they blast. And I've been hearing these blasts for several years now. This was nothing like that. Then it was longer, deeper, and it turns out everybody all over my county heard it and has been commenting on it. And now it's come out that pretty much everybody in northern New Jersey and in New York State heard it too.
Yes?
Yes.
That far? How far is that?
Like an hour away. It's like at least
100 miles.
60 miles around. Now, there is a report coming out that there was supposed to be a 3.5 magnitude earthquake centered around up near Poughkeepsie, New York, which is about an hour and a half away from me. Mm-hmm. But me, along with a lot of other people, are questioning that because growing up in California, I've lived through 2 major earthquakes and countless minor earthquakes.
Yeah.
And none of them ever sounded like that. Usually you get more of the rocking motion than you do any actual sound.
Yeah, what did it sound like? Did it sound something like a craft breaking the speed of light? Or are you too young for that? I remember that.
Well, yeah, it was
Speed
sonic.
of sound,
sonic.
sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't a sonic boom because sonic booms usually go boom boom, and
that's true.
And this was a single boom, but it rolled. It rolled for a while, several seconds, and some people
It'd be a blast then.
Well, some people on Facebook actually recorded the sound off of their security cameras and played it. Mm-hmm. And now I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't an earthquake. I'm just saying it didn't sound like it. Could it have been a sonic boom? Quite possibly, but it was heard for miles and miles. But we normally do not get supersonic aircraft in this area. I don't hear sonic booms here at all. So it's a mystery. We'll wait and see what happens, what else comes out. But the regular news isn't reporting it. I haven't heard anything on it yet on the local news channels. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see what happens when they do the news later tonight, see if anybody brings it up.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Seems to be interesting. Interesting to find out.
Yeah, I remember the last one we had, which was well over 10, 12 years ago.
What was that, earthquake or sonic boom?
It was an earthquake. But then remember, it was centered around near Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And when we were talking, we interviewed Nick Redford not long after that, and he was mentioning something about an underground military base that might have had an accident.
Uh-huh.
So just...
Well, you never know, do you?
You never know. Food for thought.
Mm-hmm. So, since we haven't done this show in a while, what's new with you? Not a lot. I got over Christmas. I managed to survive the grandchildren attack. And that's about it, really. I can't remember. No, I'm just looking forward to my holiday. That's all I'm looking forward to now. I'm getting away to Italy.
Yes, Italy's coming up this year.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, seeing all my friends and the family out there and everything, it'll be absolutely fantastic.
Well, you know what's been happening with me.
Yes, sadly, I do.
And just for those people who did not happen to catch my Astral Perception show a few weeks ago, my wife suddenly passed away at the end of November. Very sudden. It's still kind of a shock. And so now life goes on. And it's definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah, it may be interesting, but not pleasant.
No, it's not.
No.
I mean, I'm doing better now than I was.
Gradually.
And you know what? As I touched a little bit on the other show, we can talk some about it here. I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but based on who we are and what we do tend to look at death a lot differently than other people. But it's still a mystery in a lot of ways. It's still a mystery. Now, I will say one thing that did happen. I did have something that I can't sit here and say it was paranormal. I can't sit here and say it had anything to do with my wife. But the day of her funeral, her cousins were in from out of town for the funeral, and they were going to drive all the way home, which was about a 3-hour drive. And I said, well, why don't you just come by and spend the night with me, since I have the guest room, and then that way you guys can leave in the morning. So they agreed. And when they came over, I went in to fix up the guest room, and laying in the center of the bed was a quarter, which in the U.S., it's a 25-cent piece. Now, what was odd about it was that damn thing wasn't there before, because I know I made up the bed.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I still got this cough. I made up the bed, and I was in that room earlier. There was nothing there. The quarter was sitting strictly in the center of the bed. And then I might have blown it off and think, well, maybe I accidentally dropped some change or something. I don't know. But what really struck me was that it was tails up, not heads. So it was the back of the coin was facing upwards. Mm-hmm. And it was part of what came out a couple of years ago, a commemorative state coin, where they printed logos for all of the 50 states on the back of all the quarters. Yeah. And the state that happened to be on this coin was Colorado.
And that's a state that holds memories for you and your wife.
And it holds great significance for both of us. Mm. And now that's really all that's ever happened here. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was paranormal. It's one of those I don't know. Odd. Could be, but I don't know.
Maybe. You never know. It may be her just letting you know that she's okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, when my brother passed several years ago, it took a few months before I started having some experiences, mostly in dream state, or like if I was in an alpha state, just like in between waking and sleeping, some things would happen, and nothing has happened since. So I don't know. Maybe some other things will happen in the future. Maybe that'll be the only incident that'll ever happen. Who knows? I mean, we don't really fully comprehend what happens when somebody crosses over. You know, I do feel she crossed. I don't feel she's hanging around. And you know, we've interviewed so many different people on the show about near-death experiences, afterlife experiences. In fact, our guest, excuse me, got to keep clearing my throat here. Our guest for our next show, which should be next week, is Dr. Scott Taylor, who's hosting one of our brand new shows here on the network, The Afterlife Files. Yeah. So he talks about the near-death experiences and what people experience when they cross over. So that'll be great to have that conversation with him. But we've interviewed a lot of other people on this subject too, and everybody has a slightly different perspective of it. And I think that is human nature. I think it's because people who have these experiences, they're experiencing a lot of things. How do I explain this? Like a metaphor. It's like they're remembering things in such a way that makes sense to them. Because what you actually experience is incomprehensible to our human mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm sure it will for anybody that's lost anyone. But, you know, as far as she's concerned, your wife, I think she's just sleeping well. She's all right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Well, now comes the.
Now you've got to put up with me in this radio show.
Well, now I have
nagging.
I'm used to that.
Sleeping.
After all these years, I'm used to that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I must admit, I have nagged you a little bit lately about whether you're eating or anything, all that sort of stuff.
Say that again?
Did that come out back to front?
I couldn't understand it. It was English, but...
Yeah, there's a bit of Russian in there somewhere. No, I said, must admit, I've nagged you a little bit lately about have you eaten?
Oh, I didn't hear that nagging part. Yes. Yeah, my problem is...
We're friends.
My problem is I'm eating too much of the wrong thing, and a little too much wine at night.
Yes.
And I definitely need to curb that because I've put on some pounds in the last month. And thankfully I'm back at the gym, but I need to stick with my diet because if I want to, by the time summer comes, I want to be looking halfway decent if I'm going to be doing some traveling.
Yeah. Well, I always liked you a little bit chunkier anyway.
Oh, yeah, I was good what I got down to before I started gaining all this back. But I don't want to gain it all back. I mean, I lost 60-something pounds from my heaviest. So I definitely don't want to put that back on.
Oh, well. Anyway, so are we going to talk about what's coming up in the future? What we're getting up to? The games we're going to be playing?
Oh, yes. Most definitely.
You do it.
Well, I mean, again, now that I have so much free time on my hands.
Well, I thought this is it. Go on.
We are going to be resurrecting some old projects that we had in the works.
Yeah.
And kind of had to be put on the back burner for a while, but right now we can go full steam ahead on, and that includes resurrecting our production company, Willowwind Productions.
Oh, yeah, which was Willowwind Pictures at one time.
Yes. Productions is a little more all-encompassing because we are developing both reality-based, like documentaries, and fictionalized television shows, television series.
That's right, yeah.
The one that I really want to get going is...
Shush. Careful.
No, because we own the rights to it, is the dramatization of your book.
Oh, that, yeah.
The Psychic Spy.
The Psychic Spy.
Which we came up...
That's a bit naughty, though, isn't it? When you think about it, my Psychic Spy, she's brilliant. She's absolute fantastic dancer. She's a really good spy. But there's a little bit of sex in there, isn't there?
Well, there's nothing wrong.
A little bit more than sex in there.
Have you watched any spy shows where
Yeah, but not like mine. I have not seen anybody bouncing around on a chair yet.
No. Well, No. Hey, things have changed a lot over the years, and especially if you get a cable show or on streaming like Netflix or Amazon, you can get away with all sorts of things these days. So,
well, you're going to have to with that one, I tell you, because it all goes together, doesn't it? Sex, secrets, and spies.
Well, I mean, sex and spies go hand in hand. I mean, look what happened over here with that one senator who was caught up with that Chinese spy for years. And he got literally nailed.
Yeah, but he enjoyed himself in the meantime, didn't he?
Yeah, not unknowingly passing
along. They always
along.
enjoy themselves until they get caught.
Yeah, unknowingly passing along state secrets.
Yeah, I shouldn't laugh. But I've seen it so many times.
What is a good term for that? A honeypot?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So I wouldn't worry about it. In fact, the pilot that we wrote for the
Psychic Spy,
the series, we
the
met.
Psychic Spy off of my book. Yeah.
Yep.
The Psychic Spy.
Yes. I still love that pilot. I think it came out much better than it should have.
Yeah,
and
it is a good pilot. There's plenty of action in it.
But there's the humor and quirkiness, which is what I like, especially about the character of Irene.
You've got to have that, haven't you? Because you got that in the book as well. There's a lot of humour in that book. In both books, there's a lot of humour besides everything else. Then you have got the violence and the love aspect and the sex aspect with SIS.
and the psychic aspect of it, the paranormal aspect of it that we really dive into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's one. We have a couple of reality shows, which I won't say what they are yet because they're in development, and God knows I don't want anybody stealing our ideas.
Yeah.
Which has happened in the past.
Oh, definitely. This is why when we weren't quite ready the last time for Willowwind Pictures, we had other commitments going on, and that's why we had to shelve it all. But now there's no need to shelve it anymore.
No.
It's coming out, and it's going to hit big.
You know, there's my post-apocalyptic, I call it dramatic series, but it's going to be more quirky too, based on what my brother was doing with his Wasteland Weekend stuff out in California. Yeah. So, and
I tell you another thing that would be good as well. Once I finish writing Demon, my latest book, Demon, to turn that into something. Because the whole of that is from the prospect of the demon, isn't it? From the demon's point of view.
Yes. Which, that will be a challenging to write. But I think...
It is challenging. Oh, what? You mean the script?
The script, yeah.
The book's challenging.
Yeah. But at least from the book, you can narrate it from the demon's point of view. But trying to translate that into a visual medium is going to be very challenging, but you know what, it could be done. Yeah, most definitely it could be done.
Yeah, and we own the copyright on that one too.
Yep. So I'm really looking forward to it. Plus,
I tell you what else I'd like to do. I'd like to actually maybe, I'm not sure whether this year or next year, but start off a magazine. Start getting into the magazine world as well, and running a magazine alongside all this. And also conferences.
Well, we want to build the Paranormal UK empire. And, you know, we're
capable of doing that, you know that.
Oh, yes. Well, see, we were rated by a couple of different online publications. Our station was rated the #1 paranormal network out there back in September, and which was really surprised us. And
surprised you. You haven't stopped going on about it.
No. Why not? I mean, let everybody know. We have such a wonderful variety of different shows.
Yeah, and we've got a good... what would you call them? Partners, you know, people that work with us. Andy Mercer is absolutely brilliant.
Yes. And, you know, we want to expand on that. You know, we would want to do conferences. We want to expand more, especially in the UK, because here in the US, you throw a stone, you hit a paranormal conference. They're all over the place, and they're all the same. And that's the one thing.
This is what it's getting to over here.
Yeah.
A lot of them, same old. This one, what we've got to do is make it totally different from the norm.
Yep.
You know, there are ones over here where you could join in the ghost hunts at night and things like that. But no, there's more to it than that.
There is, and that's the one thing that I've always wanted to push in everything that we do, is to be different from everybody else. Come at it from a different perspective. Even this show, the way you and I handle things, our banter on the show, our relationship, but then
their fights,
yeah. But how we deal with our guests. We've always gotten so many compliments from our guests for coming on our show, because they like
us insulting each other. That's what they like.
Well, they like that, and they also like the fact that it's not just the standard interview questions from people who really don't know what the hell they're talking about. We have that experience, and we come from different perspectives too. So we surprise people with our knowledge because we're able to keep up with them most of the time. And we've even opened the eyes of some of our guests. Now, I'm not saying we know more than our guests. I don't want to come across as arrogant.
You don't?
No.
No, of course not.
But, you know, I enjoy talking with people. I've learned. See, that's the thing is, we've done the show for so many years. And then before that, we had Unknown Origins Radio. So I've been doing podcasts for over 10 years now. And interviewing so many people, you learn so much. And it broadens your perspective on everything. And it's changed my viewpoint on the whole idea of the quote-unquote paranormal.
I thought it was me that changed your viewpoint on the quote or whatever of the paranormal.
Well, there's that too.
Well, there's that too.
But I'm trying to promote the network right now.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want me to start promoting you,
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Less people know about me, the better.
Yeah. While you're on the #1 radio show.
And hit list.
You can't have it both ways, darling.
#1 radio show, #1 hit list.
Yeah, we've wound up on a few people's hit lists.
Oh, God.
That is the one question
Yeah.
that I have.
Go on, then.
What in the hell is it that we have done that has pissed off so many people?
Succeeded. When the times were hard, when times were rough, and when everybody expected us to fail, we succeeded. And we done that on purpose because we wouldn't give up.
No, and people who were once friends turning right around and attacking us. And
yeah, well, that's their problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as you don't attack them back.
No, I won't even mention their names or give them the time of day, but it just mystifies me. Like, I wonder what in the heck is wrong with people. Jealousy, or is it...
But when you think about it, Mark, we've been at this for Unknown Origins Radio, PA UK, we've built up the network. We haven't had that many people get pissed with us because we're succeeding and they're not.
No, it has been a handful, but when it happens, it's surprising.
Well, yeah, it can be a little bit upsetting, but, there's always another day, isn't there?
Like that last guy who kept trying to turn us against each other.
Yeah, but that didn't work.
No, it didn't, because he's a tool.
And I told you what I said about you.
Yep.
And I call you a pillock sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And you've called me plenty of names. I've had a few choice words for you, too.
I know. And I don't care too who's.
No. Because we do get along so well.
Serious than that.
We do get along so well, and we're able to take the piss out of each other, and that's...
Yeah.
And we can enjoy it.
If you can't do that, what can you do?
No. This is true. This is true.
What can you do? You just go around with a miserable face all the time. Life is so hard at the moment. Don't give in to it. That's what I say. I don't give in.
No.
Times get tough. I still keep on.
Times are tough right now for so many people. I mean, I look at the world and I think it's gone absolutely batshit crazy.
Well, yes.
So,
in the last few years, definitely has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole world has changed. The people have changed.
People have changed.
The way of thought has changed. Everything's changed.
Yeah.
What can you do about it? You got to go with the flow, mate.
Yep. You got to live your life. That's one thing I've always talked to people about is, even when I was doing astral perceptions, is, concentrate on yourself. Don't give in to the negativity. Try to live the best life you can. And stay out of the bullshit.
That's it. No, you can't do much more, can you?
No.
So what else are we doing?
What else are we doing? Well, I know I'm trying to get... I had taken a long sabbatical from paranormal research in general. And
investigating.
Yeah, and going out and actually doing investigations. And a lot of it, I think, had...
That's what I like about you. You were never an armchair investigator. You were always on foot. You were out there. And
as we've talked about on shows in the past, there are several investigations that not only have I done, but you have done, that we've discussed, that's really changed my whole worldview on what we're dealing with the paranormal, because it's not always the ghost of or spirit of someone who's died and hanging around in the house, and maybe they don't know they've died and they're going around doing their daily thing. I think that's incredibly rare.
No, it's all to do with energy. That is, I think that is. Okay, it's like my ones, the ones I've seen, you know? Mm-hmm. Listen, Mark, okay? I have seen my ghost so many times. And they come across in the guise of Herbert and Annie and Myra, right? From the photographs that I see, you could tell that that's the same person that was in the photograph.
And just to clarify for our listeners, these are the ghosts currently in your house?
Yeah, but there's something different. And it isn't the fact that they're bouncing around on another vibration to me. That's not it. There's something else about them that makes me know that they are really something in disguise. Capisce?
And that actually fits in to something that I've been looking into lately. Is too often investigators will go, let's say you look at all these...
a little boy here or a little girl.
Yeah, all these television shows, and they hear about somebody in this location, and they call the person's name, and they're trying to connect with them, and then let's say maybe they get a voice recording, an EVP, or one of their spirit box sessions, and things come through and seems to confirm what they're dealing with, and these investigators jump on it hook, line, and sinker.
They take it as gospel.
Yeah, and if there's
take anything like that gospel.
If there's one thing we've learned is you take it with an iceberg-sized grain of salt, because you don't know who or what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, over the years, you know, the work, I've dealt with things that are nice, and I've dealt with things that are raging horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the vibrations to all these are different. You can feel the energy. The energy is totally different from something that's really septic, you know, kind of toxic, to something that it vibrates like a nice little puppy dog.
Oh, and for our listeners, if you hear something in the background that sounds like wailing, that's my cat downstairs screaming, wanting to be let out. So nothing paranormal there, folks.
That makes, I tell you what, that makes me think about when we used to have to apologise for Gertie snoring in the background all the time.
Oh, yes. You think there's some demon growling, and it's just Gertie snoring.
Yeah.
Well, you know, getting back to what you were saying about energy, so let me ask you a question, since I've
got a mouthful of sweets now.
Oh, well, okay. Well, while you're sucking on the sweets, I will ask my question, which would be, you've mentioned seeing what looks like the apparitions of these former residents of your home. But yet you're saying it may not be them, it's something else. You're feeling a different energy.
Yeah.
Is what you're feeling negative or malevolent, or do you feel like it's something that's just shape-shifting into a recognizable form?
Something shape-shifted into a recognizable form, something that I'm going to accept and take. There has been very dark masses moving around. My husband told you the other day. Mm-hmm. Did he tell you, or was it I that told you that he's seen them down, these mass blackness masses moving down the drive?
I think you told me about it, but he confirmed it. And again, this is where this gets back to what I'm interested in right now.
What's that?
Is it's not a house.
It is.
It's
not a shed.
No. It's not a house that is haunted, but there's something on the land, and there's something that could go in and out of the house. Well, I've never understood, why would a human spirit be like trapped and contained in a physical material structure? Never made sense to me.
Well, you know what they say. The old thing is that the old saying is that, they were happy where they were, they didn't want to leave, they had something on their mind, or they had done something that made them feel guilty and they couldn't pass over, all this sort of thing.
Or it's like we've also mentioned in the past, a form of time slip, where when you see them, you're seeing an event from the past, even if it's a mundane event, somebody just walking down the stairs.
Which I've seen many a time. And nearly every time I've witnessed something, I believe it's a time slip.
Yeah.
The day I came to view this house and I walked up the stairs, and as I went to go into the major bedroom, I stopped at the threshold of the door because standing by the window was an Edwardian woman looking out. Right? Mm-hmm. Then there was the time when I was in that big house that Jamie was living in, my son. Mm-hmm. And he was showing us around. He took us up to the top of the house where the servants' quarters were. And as we were leaving there and coming out of that area, there she was standing right there looking at me. And she had shock on her face, and as much as I did. She looked at me as if I was some sort of ghost. Mm-hmm. And she was in period clothes.
And that was the type of time slip where there's two types. There's one that plays like a recording where they're unaware of you, and then there's this type,
like Roman soldiers marching through walls. Yeah,
right. Which in this case, it was what I feel is like some kind of warp in time where two time periods are able to intersect, and two very living, breathing human beings are able to see each other, even though they're separated by years of time. Yeah.
And the same when I was living at a boyfriend's home with his parents in Crystal Palace. I've been living there for about 6 months. I've been in and out of the rooms as God knows how many times, but one day I walked through one room and it changed. That totally changed, that room. So, it doesn't worry me that this happens to me a lot. It's always happened to me ever since I was a child. I'd see things like this have happened. But, so, to me, it's just life. But, as I was saying, if you put your arm out, right, you're touching a ghost. And behind every person stands 200 ghosts. These are the old sayings.
Are they standing behind me when I'm sitting on the loo?
Well, no, they're not that daft, are they?
They might be. There's some pretty sick people out there. And
yeah, but what I'm saying is, if this is, when you think about it, if there is a parallel life and afterlife, it's very, very close and vibrating along with this one.
I agree, because if you think about it, everything is energy, and energy is frequencies.
That's right.
And I liken all of these different levels of existence all happening at once on the same time. We're only aware of one, and most of us anyway.
Yeah, unlike some bloke invented a clock.
Unlike people like you. But you see... But it's like I liken it more like a radio. Like when you turn on the radio and you tune into a station and you're only hearing that station, but there are a few hundred other stations all playing at the same time that you don't hear or are aware of because you're tuned into the one station. Then when you change the frequency, you change into another station or another vibrational energy.
I sometimes also feel that, okay, you change the frequency. People can change the frequency, like mediums and everything. They can change the frequency.
Not all
physically.
mediums.
Yeah, like that, yeah. But then there's other people that change the frequency without being aware they've changed the frequency. Mm-hmm. It's like walking through a room, through a door. Mm-hmm. Suddenly they're on another frequency.
Well, as we've both discussed before, there are people that we are each aware of that are highly in tune and sensitive, and that they either don't know it or they're afraid of it and they try to suppress it.
That's it, or they can't handle it.
Yeah.
You see, I I knew from a very, very young age that I had to handle what I was seeing because I wasn't getting any help.
Well, yeah,
and I've got this attitude now. If something comes up behind me or something and I feel it, I just turn around and F off. Straight away. With a loud bang. F off. You know? And it's the energy I'm putting out and suddenly it just gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, that's where we have discussed this in the past too. It's also, we have that energy to put out. When we focus our intention, we manipulate the energy around us, our own internal energy and the other energy around us by thought, intention. You affect.
Well, you can do it to other people just by looking at them. You know?
Well, that's why, if let's say you're sitting there and all of a sudden you just get this odd feeling and you turn around and look and you see somebody staring at you from across the room. How would you know that person is staring at you? Because they're staring at you and putting that intent out there, their concentration out there. And it's
for the wavelengths, the waves, the sort of energy that's,
Definitely. And it's the same thing when you can walk into a building or walk into a house and you suddenly are aware of a change in energy.
Because they've had a bust up or big row 5 seconds beforehand.
Well,
That's the same thing. If somebody has a big argument in their house, you go in there and they're all nice as pie to you, but you can still feel it. It's hanging in the air.
Oh, yeah. That tension, you can cut it with a knife.
They're all smiles and nice and dishing up the cake and cream, but there it is hanging in the air still, and you will pick it up.
I've done some investigations in the past where investigating a very old building, well, old here for the U.S., where
200.
Yeah, it goes back to the 1780s. But the energy in this particular location was very strong. Transient, it moved about. So we could be in one room and we had teams spread throughout the house. And I could be one team in a room and I feel this energy and this intenseness. My body reacts to it. And that's something investigators don't use often enough is their own bodies. It's the best ghost detecting.
It's the biggest tool you've got.
Yeah. And you feel it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You don't feel it anymore. And then somebody else on another level of the house calls out on the radio and says, "Yeah, it's up here now." Yeah. So you feel it leave your area, and then somebody else feels it come into their area. So we tracked its movement all across the house. Yeah,
well, I've done that. I've tracked a spirit or tracked a bum pincher, as I call him, because we used to always pinch the ladies' bottoms through a terrace of houses, Victorian houses, from one house to the other. This investigation I'd done in Llanelli in Wales. Was it Buryport? No, it wasn't Buryport, but it was down there anyway. The house had been converted into 2 flats. But to get to the top flat, you had to go outside the house, round the house, down the side of the house, and up a fire escape to get into the top flat. This thing had us running up and down all the time. 1 minute it was upstairs, the next minute it was downstairs. And you could hear it. You could literally hear it on the voice recorders. The laughter, it was absolutely demonic. And we don't get many demonic things here. And I don't believe in demons, as the Bible. But there is some bad crap over in the world. And this thing literally had us running around. 1 minute we were downstairs, something would happen upstairs, we'd dive upstairs. It took a bit of time to get up there, but once you got up there, it was all happening downstairs.
And again, it was playing with you. It was enjoying sending you on a wild goose chase.
That's the house where I caught the photograph of the time traveller.
And that photo still amazes me. And it amazes me in the fact
what we call a time traveller.
We don't know what to call it because it's a man clear as day, as clear as you were standing there, But he was dressed in...
He wasn't standing, he was running.
Well, he was in motion. He was moving...
he looked like he was in motion.
At a fast pace, going past you in a tiny bathroom. Where there was nowhere to go. There's nowhere to come from and nowhere to go. Yeah. And he's wearing what looked like military tactical gear.
Balaclava or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was wearing a black helmet with a strap. He was black, tight-fitting clothing, and he was holding a device in his hand. You know, now whether that was futuristic or maybe something happening on in another reality, mirror universe or whatever, we don't know.
That was a very strange house. And we call him the time traveller because we have no other answer to who he was or why he was there or how it happened. All I know is on that digital camera, right, the photographs before were perfect. The photographs after were perfect. This one cannot be answered. There's no answer to it. Even sending it off to be examined at the laboratories, there's no answer to it.
Mm-hmm. That's the best thing. Whenever you do capture something, if you've been taking pictures before and after, take as many as you can, because then you need that for comparison. I've used it many times to dismiss what looks like activity because it's a lens flare or some kind of reflection or whatnot. But then some of the things that I've photographed, I mean, intense balls of energy that are not dust in front of the camera lens. I mean, they're way too big, too bright and intense, and shaped very strangely. And while I haven't personally ever seen an apparition or caught one on camera, some of our investigators have.
Not yet, you haven't.
Well, not yet.
I've caught two.
But we're getting back into it. And that's what I'm looking forward to. With the types of investigations that I want to look into, it's not just a haunted house. I don't want to do what the ghost shows do. They're all boring as crap, and they don't break any new...
Same old, isn't it?
They don't break any new ground.
No.
If... And the one thing that I feel is really important. I mean, it's one thing when you can... They have some of these shows where they have their psychic as part of the team. Okay, fine, whatever. Because half the time, these psychics, you don't know how genuine they are, or what they're making up, what they've been fed before. I don't trust most of these production companies as far as I can throw them.
Half of them look like they're just out of school anyway. You know, it's eye candy stuff. If they want a psychic and they want a good psychic, get an old one that's been at it for years, that knows their stuff or knows his stuff. Not somebody that reads it in a book or on the internet.
Got anybody in mind?
Or Googles.
We talking about somebody in particular here?
No. My days of television are over, mate.
No, don't never say never.
Oh, I don't know.
Remember, we got Willow Wind going. We've got some ideas and projects.
No. But this is what I always find, that the older ones that got the experience and know their stuff, they're the best.
Yeah.
They're not going to poo-poo and go. But you see, a lot of these television companies, they want all that. They want, it's like the one that came here once. They were throwing things around just for bloomin' atmosphere. Mm-hmm. There's stuff on bloomin' fishing wire flying off the shelves and the mantelpiece and everything. There was no need to if they'd sat there long enough. But the point is, it's all about getting bums on seats, you see. Mm-hmm. And that's bums on seats, lies, fibs, do a bit of screaming, get a bit of eye candy in there.
Throw some stones. Know who we're talking about there. Yeah, and that's a problem with trying to make some of the things that we're planning. You have to be able to make a show that people are going to want to watch. Yeah. Now, the one show that I love is The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, playing on the History Channel.
Yeah.
Now,
well,
there is no eye candy on that.
I like it, but it kind of bored me.
Well, but
I can see where you're coming from.
But hear me out on this. This show is very popular. They've done 3 seasons. They just got announced for a 4th season, and there is no eye candy on that show. It's all a bunch of older guys.
Yeah, but you see, this is it. They can. No, I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to get into a row otherwise with people.
What? Speak your mind.
No. Well, you can put old men into a show, and it's more or less acceptable. Put old women in the show, no one really, they turn off. Put a bit of, like you say, eye candy into the show, and everybody's watching it.
And you know what? There is that stupid attitude that's out there, and it does piss me off. And you know, sometimes you got to find a way to break through those barriers and that's the problem with Hollywood. This is the Hollywoodification of paranormal research.
Yeah.
Where who are the big female names in paranormal? Well, they're all young and pretty. You know,
they certainly are, and same over here, more or less.
Yeah. So it's because that's what.
Good luck to them. That's what I say. But you know.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to disparage anybody who's doing these shows, but
I've spoken to so many of them, Mark, and they don't know one thing from another.
No, I can see it.
You put a ghost in front of them, they'd be down the road like a blooming rabbit out of a box.
There was a show that was came out on Netflix a couple months ago where they had 3 different paranormal teams split up across the country, each investigating a different location at the same time, supposedly remote monitored from this command center in Massachusetts.
What was that called?
I forget what it was called, but you know, Aaron Sagers was on it, who I know. I haven't seen him in a long time. He probably wouldn't remember me. And somebody who used to work on Ed and Lorraine Warren's team. And that whole segment of them supposedly remote monitoring was the biggest bunch of horse crap ever. Because if that was the case, these guys didn't change clothes for 30 days.
Didn't they?
They shot their segment all in a day, watching footage that had been shot months before. You know, don't tell me they're live remote monitoring. That ain't happening. But the way these teams, they send these people in and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And this one guy who labels himself a demonologist, that's the other thing they do. They'll get these really overweight fat guys on paranormal teams. I don't know why paranormal teams always attract the overweight fat guys, which I was one myself. So, you know, hey, not disparaging anybody.
Yeah, you were one, yeah.
But this guy was so arrogant, and he calls himself...
You didn't get that, did you?
I didn't hear you.
I said, yeah, you were one.
Yeah, I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this one guy, he was so arrogant, calls himself a demonologist, and he goes in and he starts provoking and throwing out in the name of...
we had one over here.
In the name of Christ, this and that. And the guy wound up being oppressed, on the borderline of being possessed, because he kept antagonizing whatever was there. He was opening himself up wide open. He wasn't protecting himself. I don't remember his name. I don't remember any of their names.
We had one over here that went from a nightclub owner to a demonologist overnight.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody could call themselves a demonologist, but you can
even buy the paperwork online.
But here's the problem. They don't even know what the hell a demon is. They're going off of either religious indoctrination, or they're going off of whatever they heard everybody else talk about. And they don't know what they're dealing with. And half the time, these so-called demons are some kind of elemental or other types of entities. And don't get me wrong, they can be very nasty, and they can oppress and even possess people. But are they satanic? Absolutely not. And you can throw out the name of Christ. You can throw holy water all around. You know what happens when you throw holy water around? You get walls wet. You can go and burn sage in a house to cleanse it. And what do you have? You have a stinky house.
Yeah, a stinky house. But the point is, you know, Well, you know yourself that demon is just a man-made word.
Yeah. And the
okay, it dates back a long way, but it's still a man-made word for a description.
Yeah, and it's the meaning has been changed because the original, I believe it was Greek or Latin word for demon dealt with something about wisdom.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
Now, I'm going to catch a lot of flack for all of that, and people who are going to totally disagree with me. And you know what? Fine, disagree with me. I'm not saying I'm right, because what the hell do I really know? That's why I'm researching. I'm trying to learn. And while it is my opinion that things are not what is traditionally conceived of, things are far more strange and weird than we can even imagine, I think. But do I know? No, I don't know anything. I go off of what I experience. I go off of what I feel. I'll listen to other people. I'll make some conclusions. And I'm speaking, of course, I say me a lot because this is just my opinion, my perspective of things as being someone who's not psychic or sensitive. You know, what do we really know for sure?
Yeah. Yes. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do we really know? Oh, and just demon is another word for wizard. That sort of thing, yeah. Okay. Right. So before we go, can I just ask people to say a prayer for my poppy dog?
Absolutely.
Because prayer has meaning as far as I'm concerned. Yes, poppy dog, she's got
pancreatitis.
Pancreatitis. Plus, I know she's got cancer. She's covered in lumps. She's also lost one of her eyes, but she's not eating at the moment. Usually, she does eat and drink well, and for all she's been through over the years, she's she was a lovely, gentle dog, and I really don't. I'm breaking my heart. I don't want to lose her. So please, just a few words.
Yep. You got it on my end. Everybody else, if you can, please. And, let's all try to look at this new year. We are now in 2023. God, I never thought I'd live to see this.
Neither did I. I didn't think I would.
Well, but here we are, and we've got a lot going on this coming year, and I think a lot of exciting things coming up this year, and we will keep you all apprised as we go, and we already have guests booked for the next couple of months. Now, we are moving to a bi-weekly format. This show, we were going to premiere next week, but we decided to come back just to have a kickoff show with Irene and
practice run between me and you.
Get back into the groove of things before we start getting into our guests. And as I mentioned earlier, our next guest, Dr. Scott Taylor, is the host of the Afterlife Files, and he will be here with us next week. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him.
So am I.
Yeah.
I definitely am, because, although he's on Air Network, his show plays out on Air Network, I've yet to say hello to him. I've been so busy.
Yes.
So...
Well, now's our chance. Next week.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Well, this has been awesome. I've so missed this. I'm looking forward...
Okay, now, did I get the opening right, or did I not?
Do you want me to leave the raw audio in?
No, because there's a few curse words in there. So no, the blooper, the mess ups that I done, removed. But did I get it right in the end?
In the end, you did, yes.
Okay, let's see if you can get it right at the end then.
Now, if I saved all of the times that you messed up, trying to
see me pointing at this mic,
doing the tongue twister of our opening over the last few years, it would be an 8-hour-long show.
Oh yeah, it would, wouldn't it? But it would be a funny one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sitting here, you're talking, and I'm saying, I'm pointing at the mic all the time as if I'm pointing in your face.
Oh, I feel that finger in my face.
Finger in the face.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to feel it up your nose if you're not careful.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go on, close us down.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the very first episode of the Paranormal UK Radio Show, the flagship show here on the Paranormal UK Radio Network for 2023.
Yeah.
And
of 2023, yeah.
2023. And again, you can find us where?
Oh, it's not the first one because Andy and Kerry done one.
Well, this is the first one you and I did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right. Come on, I'll let you have that one.
Yeah.
Where can you find us? You can find us everywhere, people. Just about everywhere.
Everywhere. Just do a search. Online, you'll find us. Every podcast streaming platform, from Apple to Spreaker to Podbean to Google to Samsung, iHeartRadio, blah, blah, blah. Plus, we have our streaming station, which you can hear on our website at paukradio.com. But we also stream out on TalkStream Live and the Paranormal Radio app as well. So yes, we are literally everywhere. So everyone, you have a wonderful week, and we will be back and talk to you all next week. Take care. Be good humans.
Bye, everyone.